I come. Hello, hello, lovely people. Aloha and welcome. This is Magdalena in another episode of Touchful podcast. So, the previous episode was a bonus episode. If you haven't listened to it, I really encourage you to, when you finish with this one, to go and listen to the bonus episode. It's something that I will be giving you between these, I call them regular episodes, so the episodes that I record weekly or every 2 weeks. Episodes about everything that touches me, that touches my heart, everything that inspires me, everything that I find worth sharing, and everything that is connected to massage and to body work, to embodied life, to touchful life, so life in the fullness, in truth, in fully awakened body and fully awakened mind. That's what a touchful life is to me. And all this centered in the heart. That's what it is. Today's episode is a special one. It feels special to me. And it's episode number 10. So I really wanted to deliver a special topic, to do something that really I've been wanted to talk about it for such a long time, and finally here I come to talk about this. Losing my voice a little bit in the meantime, to talk about why I am quitting social media, why I took this decision, what are the consequences of this decision, what all of this has to do with touchful life, how I do it, why I do it, how it works, and everything connected to my social media story and I call it breaking up with social media. So if you are my regular listener, and I know that there are some of you there that you listen to every episode, and I'm super grateful for you and for your messages. And some of you are my massage clients, so you come to my massages and you casually tell me, hey, I listened to your podcast, and I'm like, oh my goodness, thank you so much. Really, that means so much, because it really does. So if you are a regular listener, I want to tell you hello and welcome back. If you are a new listener, maybe you were just Googling through various podcasts and searching through various podcasts about this particular topic, how to quit social media and why to do it. Because I remember that this is something that I was doing. I was searching for podcasts where people talk about quitting social media when I took that decision. So if this is you, or if you landed here in this space for any reason, but if you are new, I want to welcome you wholeheartedly as well. And I want to shortly introduce myself. So my name is Magdalena. I'm from Poland. I live in Iceland, where I practice and teach massage, Hawaiian massage and bodywork, called Lomi Lomi. And this podcast is my crazy, cozy, heartful, truthful place to share my truth, to share everything that is important to me. And before I jumped into today's topic, I want to tell you one thing about the podcast in general, because it's the episode number 10. So I already get a little bit of experience in doing this. I mean, obviously, I'm still a rookie, a total beginner. But I get more and more experience with every episode, and I learn more and more in how I want to do it, how I want to do this podcast my way. And it's a part of a bigger thread in my life, because my whole life in general is, since for last couple of years, it's constantly asking myself this question: how I want to live my life my way. And a part of it is how I want to do the podcast my way. I know that there are general ways to do the podcast and things that you should and shouldn't do when you run a podcast for it to be, I don't know, more popular or better quality or whatever. And I was really stressed about it at the beginning when I started doing this. And now, with every next episode, I give less and less shit about it. I want to do it my way, which means that you will get a podcast that is totally heartfelt, totally truthful, and totally integrated with myself. And it also means that you will get a podcast that sometimes is completely rumbling and incoherent, and I repeat myself, and I do grammatical mistakes because English is not my first language. And I'm talking about this because I don't want to care about it. I want to give you the raw and truthful experience of what it means to hang out with Magdalena in all her fullness, in everything that she wants to deliver. This also means that, especially in this episode, I don't feel it about every episode, but in this episode, I might occasionally say the F word, for example, because this topic of social media really fires me up, and I also don't want to hold myself back. And if I want to say the F word, I want to say it. So if you listen around the little ones, here comes the warning that there might be some F words coming, or maybe not, I don't know. And also another thing is that I love recording this. I absolutely adore it. But what I hate is I really hate editing the podcast. I do everything on my own. I'm this like one woman business, and I really hate editing it. So I try to edit as little as possible, which means that really sometimes this podcast gets a little bit crazy, and with like all like and and all kinds of things that I used to be so obsessed about it for the first few episodes, and I was like really meticulously cutting out every piece of silence that was longer than 2 seconds. And that's fine. That was part of the process of me learning how I want to do it my way. But the truth is that I don't want to spend 4 hours on editing a podcast that takes me 1 hour to record. I just don't. I want to do better things in my life with these 4 hours. So I'm not striving for perfection, for sure not. I'm striving for truth and honesty and authenticity and raw, vulnerable me. And if this is what you want, if this is what you want to hang out with, if this is who you want to hang out with, then I invite you for the next hour or so to spend it with me. I feel that this might be quite a long episode because I feel that I have a lot to say about this topic, and I have 30 pages of notes about social media, particularly me quitting social media. I have 30 pages of notes in my notebook, like for reals. It's something that I've been collecting, like bits and pieces of thoughts and insights and journaling over the last 4 months around this topic. And it turned out this really huge and multifaceted topic. So I decided that I don't want to give you everything at once. What I want to give you today is why I took this decision at the end of last year that I don't want to be in social media anymore, and definitely not to the degree that I used to be. Why I took this decision, what was my motivation. And I feel that a really important thing for me to tell at the very beginning is that I'm not encouraging you to quit social media. By all means, just like, do whatever you want with your life. It's your life. I don't care. I mean, I do care in a sense that if you are happy and healthy and thriving, then the whole world is just simply a better way, a better place. Then in that sense, I do care about you and your well-being. But I'm not coming here today to preach and to tell you you should quit social media because it's evil. I'm not. In fact, I haven't quit social media fully yet. So yeah, maybe let's start with this. It feels like a good start. I just need a sip of tea. And maybe let's start with this, how my relationship with social media is right now. So first things first, when I say social media, I mean Instagram and Facebook, because these are the 2 platforms that I am on. So I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on what is it there? TikTok. I'm not on Snapchat. All these, probably there are, I don't know, dozens of other things. But I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. So each time I say social media, or I sometimes refer to them as socials, these are these two platforms that I have in mind. So with me in Facebook, I checked it before recording this episode. I started to be on Facebook. I created my account in 2012. So it's been 10 years of my life on Facebook. And with Instagram, I thought I didn't have to check this because I remember it perfectly. I created an Instagram account in 2018 in June because it was right before my first trip to Hawaii. It was this time when I had this image of Instagram being like a giant photo album where you can just, post photos from your trips. And I was about to go to Hawaii, and I thought, like, yeah, why not? I'm just gonna have this photo album with people to share. So with me and Instagram, it's 4 years, a little less than 4 years. And when I became an entrepreneur, what a word, Magdalena. When I started my business, my massage business, my relationship with social media changed. It was only Facebook at that time, but this relationship changed. And then Instagram came to my life also from this perspective of me being a person who runs a business. So bear in mind that when I will be talking about my relationship with social media, it is from this perspective of a person who has a business and takes this business to social media for various reasons. So I was more, not like a lot more, of a creator of content than just a consumer of content. So there are people who come to social media to consume content, to read posts from the people that they follow, to watch videos and reels and stories and this and that. And there are people who are more of a creators of this content, people who write posts and do stories and reels and all these things that you do in social media. So I was, and I still am, because I still am on social media. I am more of this content creator. I consume also, of course, though now I can quite fairly say that I don't consume anything on social media anymore almost. But I am this creator of content. So I feel that I want to give you all these little bits and pieces of information to just, show you what was my situation when I took this decision that, holy smokes, I don't want to be there anymore. After all these years, I don't want to be there anymore. Okay, where do I want to go from here? Yeah, maybe I want to tell you about what happened in December last year. So it was December 2021 when this decision was it first, this was the spark that came to me that I don't want to be in social media at all. And I want to give you a little bit of a story of how it happened. So if you hang out with me a little bit and if you listen to the episodes, you know that this was a time when I was in Poland for 3 months, I think. So I took time off from my massage practice and I took time off from teaching, even though I was teaching a little bit in Poland, teaching Lomi. But in general, I took this time off from my business to take care of my personal life and to take care of my health. My health was not good at that time. Both my physical health and also my mental health was not good at that time. So what I decided to do is that I decided I wanted to go on a retreat. But maybe when you hear retreat, you have this image of a group of people in some beautiful place, doing yoga or all kinds of practices or something like that. What I wanted is I wanted a solitary retreat. I literally wanted to retreat. I wanted to be able to spend some time just with myself in a completely non-organized way. So I didn't want to go into, like, I don't know, vipassana or something like this, when you don't talk to other people and you meditate, but you are with other people. I know. I wanted to be alone for 5 days at least, without any organized activities. I just wanted to give myself this opportunity to really be with myself. So I found a place for that, a beautiful place in Poland. It was a yurt, a Mongolian yurt that I rented for myself for 5 days. And the woman who was running that place, still is running that place, she took care of the food, so I didn't have to do any food preparation. That was also a big part of how I wanted to do it. I didn't want to cook, I just wanted the food to be left at my doorstep, and this is literally how it looked like. So I was in that yurt, and that was obvious for me from the moment I took the decision that I want to do it, that I'm not taking my phone with me there. So what I did is I let my clients know on social media that I will be away for a couple of days and there will be no way to contact me. So if you want to book massage, go to this page. By the way, if you want to book a massage with me, if you're in Iceland, go to alohamagdalena.com and then you can book a massage with me. So, I did all this preparation, and then I switched off my phone and I went into that yurt to spend there 5 days without phone, without books, without notebooks, without anything to read, without anything to write, nothing, just me and myself and I. I think I already shared a little bit of that story in one of the episodes, didn't I? It feels like I'm repeating myself, but I want to take you a little bit further on that story now. So that was insane time. I was tending the fire, and I was with myself for most of the time. And when you are just with yourself, without any distractions, when you are allowed to get bored to death, literally, almost, not literally, but almost, with yourself sometimes, all kinds of things start to happen, and all kinds of deeper layers of you start to be uncovered and come to the surface. And this is what happened to me. I went into this, there was this one day when I went into this deep, darkness in me, something that I had this feeling that nobody is here with me, nobody witnesses me. Do I even exist? If I had all kinds of thoughts connected to this, but one of the thoughts was like, if I cannot post it on Insta stories, does it even matter? Do I even exist? And I know that it sounds a little bit horrible or shallow or, first world problems, but that was literally one of my thoughts, that do I even exist if I cannot share it with anybody and if nobody can witness me? And that pushed me into really being absolutely honest to the bone about my relationship with social media. And I got to this point in myself when I admitted that this relationship is not healthy. Maybe it was healthy at some point, and I believe it was. I believe it really was. But at some point, it started to be really unhealthy relationship. And I will give you examples of how it looked like, and part of the reasons or why I decided that I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. So I started to see the relationship with social media as I would see a relationship with a person, with a person. That at some point it was a good relationship. It was really nurturing and it was really beautiful, and I was giving a lot a lot. I was giving a lot of free content. I was writing beautiful posts, and I had so much fun. I was creating stories on Instagram, and I absolutely loved it, and I had so much fun. I was giving a lot of inspiration, a lot of free stuff, a lot of educational content, a lot of free teachings around Lomi and all kinds of other things, not just Lomi. And I was also getting a lot back. Many of my clients, they found me through Facebook and through Instagram, and they stayed with me, and they are regular clients, loyal customers. Many of my students who came to me to learn Lomi, they found me through social media, and they were like, "You are so inspiring. Everything that you share on social media is so amazing. I want to learn from you." I got to know really so many fantastic Lomi practitioners, or other body workers, or not even body workers, people who do so many amazing things. I got to connect to people from all over the world. I got to become more confident about the message that I share. I started to do Facebook Lives at some point of my I always giggle when I say it, at some point of my Lomi career. I was doing regular live streams on Facebook, and that really helped me to get more confident and to learn to speak to people. And that was all amazing, amazing, amazing. That was wonderful time of my life. But at some point, something went wrong in some moment in time. I don't even know when it happened. But it happened, and this relationship started to be really toxic. So, a couple of examples. I realized that this relationship is toxic when I once spent, I kid you not, I cringe a little bit when I'm about to say it because it's embarrassing, but I literally once spent almost whole night, I kid you not, it was almost whole night, I couldn't sleep, and I spent this whole night thinking and planning my Instagram grid. Do you understand the madness of it? My fucking Instagram grid. So how the pictures are, you know, how do they look like when you open somebody's Instagram account and you see all these pictures? This is called Instagram grid. And at some point, I just got obsessed about this fucking Instagram grid and how it should look like, and maybe like this, maybe like that, to get more followers, to get more recognition. Another example is that, and that was a really strong one. That was a wake-up call, one of the wake-up calls, that I started to see reality through the frame of Insta story. So I was always with my phone, and at some point I was not enjoying the moments anymore. I was just thinking, how would it look on Insta story, how to best post it on Instagram, because it's so beautiful, because it's so inspirational. And it's really hard to talk about it because I'm ashamed that I came into that point. But at the same time, I really know that I am not the only one, and there are more people who had these experiences. Maybe you are one of these people if you create content. Another thing is that I could spend hours and hours just scrolling through Instagram, through other people's content, or on Facebook through other people's content and comments, and just got sucked into this void of fake life, because this is what social media ultimately is. It's not fake, it's not a good word, I'm taking that back. Of this curated life. So I was showing my real life on Instagram, on Facebook. Everything that I said, all the posts, all the stories, it was all true. It was not faked. But at the same time, it was curated. It was this one perfect frame that I wanted to show. It was this one sentence that I wanted to say or write. So it was curated. And when you infuse yourself just with this curated life, because everybody does this in social media, and it's normal. It's normal that we don't show our everyday shit on social media. We just show this a little bit of a better part of ourselves. And even if I decided to share something difficult in social media, something personal, it was still curated. It was still thoughtful. It was still like, okay, this part I want to show to people, even if it's hard or difficult, because I know that it can be inspiring, because I also got a lot of inspiration from other people sharing their difficult stories. But it was still all curated. So when I was scrolling through social media endlessly, consuming this curated content from others, it's sometimes so easy to forget that this is curated, that this is not how everybody's lives look like, that people have their shit to deal with that they don't post on Instagram or Facebook. They maybe talk to one closest friend about it, or they don't talk to anybody about it because they don't have nobody to talk to, and they definitely don't share it on social media. So it's really easy to get into this loop of, everybody's life is so perfect and I'm so miserable and what's wrong with me. And there is, scientific research confirming that. So when I took this decision after this retreat in a yurt, I will be back to that story in a moment. When I took this decision that I don't want to be on social media anymore, I started to read a lot of articles and research and books and blogs and podcasts about how social media affects our brains. And it's one of the things that it makes us genuinely less happy. It makes us less happy to scroll through the curated content of other people's lives. And I woke up and I was like, I don't want to spend my life looking at other people's curated content. I want to live. I want to live. I have clients to take care of. I have my friends. I have my family. I have myself. I want to be comfortable with myself, even if nobody is watching. I want to be comfortable with myself without the need to escape into the world of social media when things start to be uncomfortable. So here's the thing, for example, how many of you, be honest, just be honest, maybe it's not you, maybe everything that I'm talking about right now, it sounds like from out of this world to you and you totally don't relate, but maybe it is you. So ask yourself and be honest and be vulnerable just with yourself. How often do you take your phone and start to scroll through your phone as a way to escape because something becomes overwhelming, something is too much, or you get bored? Do you realize that people now don't have a chance to get bored? We literally don't have a chance to get bored, because the moment the reality starts to be boring, we have these beautiful smartphones in our pockets and there is the whole world waiting for you, and there is always something new on Facebook, on Instagram, on all the social media in general, in the internet. There is always something new, so you never ever get bored. But you know what? Here's the thing. Boredom is important for mental health. Again, it's not just me and my personal experience, though it is. I experienced it myself, but it is again scientific research. Boredom is important for creativity. So I really realized, looking at my life, that the more I was on social media creating content, the more, paradoxically, hear the paradox here, the more I was creating content, the less creative I felt. And by creative, I mean this spark in you, that this when I just want to do something for the sheer fun of doing it, not to share it later on Instagram, on Facebook, and to inspire people and to get likes and comments that I am amazing. I want to learn new things for the sake of learning them. I want to create completely useless things just for the fun of creating them. I lost this part of me completely, 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 completely. And when I realized this, I was like, no, no, Magdalena, your life will not look like this. Just no. Another thing is that I realized that social media genuinely gave me anxiety. And again, it's scientifically proven fact. The more you scroll through social media, the more anxiety comes, like in your, the more anxious you feel, the more anxiety arises in your system. And there was these moments when I would spend time on Instagram and on Facebook looking at beautiful things, looking at, perfect lives and inspiring content, learning new things. I learned a ton of amazing things by from Instagram and Facebook creators. So I would spend time on this, and then I would put my phone down and I would be like, shit, why I don't feel good? I mean, I just spent some time watching fun videos or learning useful things. Why I don't feel good about myself? Why I have this really weird, icky feeling inside me that I later was able to understand that it was anxiety. Why I feel empty? Why I feel sad? Why I feel tired? I was doing nothing. I just spent 2 hours with my phone. Why I feel tired? Why I feel depleted? Like, what is this? And then later, again, when I started to read more about smartphones, also in general, what smartphones do to our systems, to our bodies, to our neurological systems, what social media do to us, I was like, wow, no wonder that I felt half dead. I was half dead. And again, this voice in me comes and says, enough. Don't live your life like this, Magdalena. It's enough. Be alive. Find a different way. Find a better way. There has to be a better way to be in social media. That was my thought at that time. So I was doing social media detoxes when I wouldn't use my phone for a couple of days. I wouldn't use my social media for a couple of days. I would delete them from Facebook, and I would delete Facebook and Instagram from my phone, and I wouldn't be on social media for a couple of days. Or when I went to for a road trip with my best friend last summer, that was also time when I went into all these beautiful places and I didn't have to post anything on Instagram about them. And it felt both weird and actually hard, and also so extremely liberating. So extremely liberating. So I would do these things, and I would constantly look for better ways to be on social media. Until that December. And coming back to the story and the yurt, and me coming to some really deep realizations about, in general, my connection with the world. And a lot of it was connected to social media. I'm sorry, I don't even know how to put into words about exactly what happened for me in that yurt. It was almost like a psychedelic experience, and I didn't take any psychedelic substances, but the deprivation of human contact and deprivation of any external stimulation, it really threw me into altered states of consciousness when I was able to access deep, deep, deep parts of myself and to get a better understanding of them. And that was genuinely the first time ever in my life when I was like, I don't want to be on social media at all. Is that even possible? That was the first time in my life, mind you, 10 years on Facebook, 4 years on Instagram, creating content, having fun with it, occasionally being unhappy about how I felt. But that was the first moment when I asked myself, do I have to be on social media? I mean, are there people in this world, specifically business people, entrepreneurs, who run their business successfully without social media? Is it even possible? Because all these years, since I created Aloha Magdalena, since I created my business, so 5 years, all these years when I was learning about marketing, about running a business, about connecting to your customers, about all these bits and pieces of being an entrepreneur, there was always, always, always something about social media, about your social media presence. It was sort of like out of question. And when I think about it now, I really think that it's fact. But it was out of a question for me whether I should be on social media or not if I run a business. It was an obvious thing. It was out of the question. The question was only how to do it to make it sustainable, how to do it, to get more impact and more range to reach to more people, how to do it without working your ass off. And there was never a question if you should be on social media when you run a business, because the answer was obvious. I don't know, I feel it was obvious to anybody. It was definitely obvious to me that yes, of course, absolutely, yes, 100%, yes, 1000%, yes, you have to be on social media. And then it's me sobbing in that yurt about really deep wounded parts of myself. And part of this wounding coming from this constant pressure of being on social media. And me, for the first time ever, asking this question, do I really? Like, what would happen if I stopped being on social media? Would my business die? I mean, social media is relatively a new thing, and people have been running businesses since forever, probably beginning of humanity. So how? And at that time, I knew nothing. I had no answers, but I had this question, and I had this prayer. That was literally a prayer that I had. That it was like me, almost like wailing. That's how you call it, whining. Oh, sorry about my English today. Me saying that I don't want to be on social media. I need help. Universe, please, like, I just don't want to be there at all. I was in this moment when I realized how fucked up my life become, partly because of the social media. Then I was like, a part of me wanted to completely delete Facebook and Instagram just right away, just disappear, just right away. But there was this wise part of me saying, okay, Magdalena, wait and see, and the answers will come. And they came, the answers came, and that's the beauty of a prayer. When you ask for help, when you genuinely ask the universe for help, the help will come. Always, just always. So how it came to me is it came in a form of a YouTube video. It was YouTube, recommends you sometimes videos to watch, and that was a video. I think it was a TED Talk by Cal Newport. I will put the link to that TED Talk, and I will put the links to all the resources that I mentioned, or I will mention. I will put all in the description of this episode, so you can go and check it yourself. Anyhow, this guy, he is not on social media. He has never been on social media, and he is a entrepreneur and a writer. And his TED Talk was about social media, or not being on social media. And that was, believe it or not, really, that was the first time ever when somebody came to me. I mean, not literally to me, somebody came to my screen on YouTube and told me, you don't have to be on social media and you will be just fine. And that was a moment when a whole new world opened up to me. And I started to Google. And it turned out that there are people, there are entrepreneurs who are not on social media. There are companies who used to be very present on social media, but now they are not. They decided not to be on social media for various reasons. One of them is Lush, for example, the cosmetics company. So I started to read blogs and posts, and again, I will leave you links to these blog posts, to these articles. I will leave you the links in the description of this podcast. I started to read, and the more I read, the more I started to feel that this is an option. Social media is an option. Again, I'm talking to you. I really want you to feel it. I'm talking to you from the perspective of a entrepreneur, somebody who runs a business, and I had a feeling that I had no choice. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I was like suffering and just really dying every day when I had to post something on social media. I wasn't. It was fun, like I told you, it was fun. But at the same time, I had a feeling that I had to play a game that, like, I have no choice if I want to play this game or not. I just have to play it. And another thing is that the rules of the game started to change. So if you have been on Facebook and on Instagram, I felt it more on Instagram. If you have been hanging out there for quite some time, for quite a couple of years, you definitely see how both these platforms changed. I mean, they're also owned by one owner, but they changed. And the rules of the game change constantly. When you are a consumer of content, you might not feel it that much. It might be even more fun because there are all these new things like, Insta stories and reels, and now I think Facebook also has reels or these kind of short videos, and the way you can post becomes more and more elaborate, so people who consume, they get more and more fun and elaborate content. But for creators, for me at least, I don't know how it feels for other people. For me, it felt like I'm always behind. I'm always behind. Rules are constantly changing. Rules of the game are constantly changing, and I'm constantly behind. The moment I had a feeling that I figured it out, I figured out the algorithm, then something was changing. Some new feature was added. Something was changing, and again, nobody was seeing my posts, or just a tiny little fraction of people was seeing my posts. And that was genuinely frustrating. That was genuinely frustrating because when I do something, I put my whole heart into it. That's just what I am. When I massage you wholeheartedly. When I record the podcast, I want it to be the most genuine and truthful and wholehearted experience. I don't want to do it for 30%. I want to do it for 100%. So when I was doing a live stream or writing a post or doing an Insta story, I was doing it with my whole heart. And the content that I was creating was good and it was valuable content. It was not just like funny video of happy cats, though I have nothing against funny videos of happy cats. We need entertainment by all means. But I was creating important, valuable content that people were sending me messages that this one sentence that you wrote there, it completely changed my day to day. Thank you so much. And because of the rules of the game were changing, there were less and less people able to see what I so much wanted to share. And that started to be so frustrating. I had a feeling that I was constantly losing at that game, that I don't know how to reach more people. I don't know how to get more followers. I'm just not good at that game. And it's just something that was fun stopped being fun because it's something that I mentioned also in the bonus episode, so the previous episode, that the nature of content in social media is that the life of this content is very short. The life of this content is very short. It's just maybe a day or two, or not 3, not now, definitely a day or two, that people see your post or your the replay of your live stream or something, and then it's gone. I mean, it stays there unless it's an Insta story, then it disappears. But it stays there, of course, but people don't see it anymore because they get more and more new content on top of that. So what the game requires you to do when you are a creator is that it requires you to create constantly more and more and more content. And at the same time, this content has to be really short and really packed. So the time of one Insta story is 15 seconds. The amount of words or signs, letters that you can use in one Instagram post is also limited. I don't know how much it is now because, again, it's changing, but it is limited. So on one hand, you are encouraged, or even it's demanded from you as a creator, as an entrepreneur on social media, to constantly be creating new content. And on the other hand, this content has to be short. And what happened to me is that I realized that creating this tiny bits of content and also consuming tiny bits of content, so reading other people's posts, watching other people's stories, watching reels, which again, these are these really short videos, what it did to my brain is that, and that's scary, that genuinely scared me, is that I realized that I am no longer able to focus deeply on anything, because I conditioned my brain to be able to consume a lot of small, short pieces of information through my phone from the social media. So suddenly, for the first time ever in my life, reading a book became almost a struggle. And again, I cringe when I say it, and I feel shameful, and I feel sorry for myself. But then when I started to do some research around this, again, this is scientifically proven from a neurological point of view that this is what social media do to your brain. You are literally unable to deeply focus on something for a couple of hours. When was the last time when you deeply focused on something for a couple of hours and you completely forget your phone? Like completely. Not even once you thought to yourself that you need to check your phone. Doesn't matter if it's to check your Facebook messages or to check what the time is. But when was the last time when you genuinely were just in the flow? It's this beautiful state that our brains are naturally able to go, this state of flow when time disappears and when you are just in this for hours and hours and hours, this deep flow, deeply creative state. I feel that this is really a natural state for us as humans, and I was unable to go to that place anymore. I actually feel that the only thing that saved my brain from being completely fucked up is that I was massaging. And massage was that only moment when I was able to be totally in the moment for more than 15 seconds, for 2 hours, or how long the session was, 1 hour and a half, depending on the session. But then that also started to change. It started to disappear. And I genuinely started to feel stupid. That is how I felt. I felt stupid. I felt that I am unable to focus for a long time, that I am unable to do the deep work, that I constantly need to switch from one thing to another, even if not checking my phone, then just constantly switching from one thing to another. And this is not good for the brain. It requires extra effort. And again, that was a huge wake-up call, because in general, I am an intelligent person. I had my IQ measured, it's way above average. So my whole life, I really could feel that I can rely on my intelligence, on my brain. And the last 10 plus years of my life is just embodying myself more, working through the body, awakening the body, so my mind can be of service when it needs to be of service. And I started to feel to lose my mind's capacities. And I was like, no, no, just I know, just this is not happening, Magdalena. This is not going to happen. It has to stop. There was a time when I was reading a lot about this dopamine addiction that the social media is giving you. So, if you maybe have watched the documentary about social media called The Social Dilemma, I think that's the title of it, they are quite well explaining how smartphones and especially smartphones in connection to social media, how it works, that it constantly gives you this dopamine boosts because you get a new message, you get a notification, you get a heart, you get a comment, you get this, you get that, and constantly your brain is being stimulated. This part of the brain that is I don't know, I don't want to check it now, but it has this special beautiful scientific name, and it's connected to the reward center, something like this I think it's called, that is being constantly stimulated, and it's addictive. That's why you when you just feel slightly bored, that's the moment when you check your phone. When things start to be uncomfortable, you check your phone, because there might be always something waiting for you, some kind of reward for you, and it is highly, 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 highly addictive. And this is something that I learned the hard way when I decided to quit social media. So I will not be going very much in detail into this of how I'm doing this, how I am quitting, and what are all the things, gazillion of things that are arising when you try to pull yourself out of something that was a part of your reality for 10 years, because I want to do a whole separate episode about it. But for now, I just want to quickly mention that that is something that I really felt, that I had to totally honestly admit to myself that shit, I'm addicted to my phone. Like, how pathetic is that? And at the same time, how common is that? How common is that? If you think that you are not addicted to your phone, try to live without your phone for 24 hours. Good luck with that. And if you can do that, do this, and you have no anxiety, no problems, no nothing arising at all, then I cheer you up. You are an amazing human being. And if you have troubles with being without your phone for more than 5 minutes, I cheer you up as well. You are an amazing human being. But maybe this is a sign that your relationship with your phone, particularly probably with the social media, that this is not a healthy relationship. So when I realized all this, when all this happened, and it was a slow process, the December and this retreat and this yurt and this depth of misery, it was just like a culmination of a very long process. When I realized all this, I was like, okay, this is not a healthy relationship anymore, even if it was at some point. This is an abusive relationship, and I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. I just don't. It's like with every relationship, and I'm speaking from experience. I escaped from an abusive relationship with a man, and it's like this with every relationship. If it starts to be abusive, it's time to go. It's time to go. You've been ignoring the red flags for quite some time. Now it's time to go. And I felt that that was with me and the social media. There were a lot of red flags, the anxiety, problems with sleep. I started to have problems with my thumbs from using the smartphone for so much that you use your thumbs a lot when you text or scroll. I started to have problems with my joints. I started to have problems with sleeping. I started to feel depressed. And then there was this one big thing that happened that was a turning point in my relationship with social media. At that point, I still was not thinking about quitting, but that was a huge turning point, and I want to tell you about it as well. Again, if you hang out with me, if you've been hanging out with me for quite some time, you know this story. But maybe if you joined recently, or if it's your first time with me, I want to share this story. It's something that happened at the end of June 2021. It was actually one day before my birthday. That's why I remember it so well. And that was the time of my life when I was a lot on Instagram. Instagram was my favorite platform. I was less and less on Facebook, spending a lot of time on Instagram, creating content, having fun, having a lot of customers coming from the Instagram account, and just, beautiful times. And then what happened? I remember this. I will never forget this. It was evening. It was evening before my birthday. The next day was about to be the first ever birthday party in my life. I never had a birthday party until last year. And then I got a message from somebody on Instagram, and they told me to check some link because apparently somebody was pretending to be me. And I remember I couldn't open that link on my phone because that somebody, they blocked me. So I couldn't see that account from my phone. So I took the phone of my boyfriend at that time, and I froze. There was this account that used all my pictures, massage pictures, but not only, all my pictures that I posted on Instagram, and they used it to advertise erotic massages, sexual services. And it's even so hard to come back to this memory because it really evokes a trauma in my body. I was severely traumatized. But I remember this, that even now when I'm talking about it, I feel my heart beating so fast. I was looking at it and I couldn't believe it. I didn't understand. Of course I knew that these things happen to people sometimes, that their content is being stolen and used for sometimes just really nasty and sometimes potentially criminal activities. And I was like, but now it's happening to me. Now it's happening to me. I see a picture of me, and I remember how this picture was taken. And I remember how beautiful this massage session was that this picture was from. And I remember that on my Instagram, I used this picture to write about something really beautiful and really inspiring and heartwarming connected to Lomi. And I remember that I got likes and comments about how beautiful and important that text was. And somebody just took that picture and just used it for the captions around, under the pictures was like, if you want to feel more of my touch, send me I literally feel like puking right now, and I don't want to puke on my beautiful Yeti microphone that I use for recording this podcast, but that was horrible. That was absolutely horrible. So I reported it. And that account was taken down. I asked my community on Instagram to report it as well, and it was taken down. But then another was created, and another was created, and I reported them, and I knew that they were created because I got messages from some people who knew me, and they were like, "Did you see that? I mean, I think you should know about this." And that was a horrible time. And then I remember it was July already because we were living in a different place by now. So that's why I remember the framework so well, because it was around important times of my life. And one of the persons, they sent me a screens from a private conversation that they had on Snapchat, so a social media platform that I'm not even on Snapchat, with somebody who was pretending to be me, and by pretending to be me, I mean using my face, using my image, using my photos. And that man who was talking to that person, I don't even know if it was a woman, but that man who was talking to that person, that man knew me. So at some point, and that person was encouraging him to pay some money for some erotic massages or just God knows what. And at some point he revealed the truth that I know the girl that you stole the pictures from. I know that woman. And that was the time when this conversation ended. But he took the screenshots and he sent them to me, and I remember reading this, and I was like, fuck, this is on Snapchat. This is on a platform that I'm not even on. I cannot even report this account. I'm not even there. And I literally, when I talk about it now, I have tears coming to my eyes. And I remember I started crying so hysterically that my partner at that time, he was like genuinely concerned. And I just felt so abused, and I was abused. That was abuse. Not to mention that it was illegal and all this, but I was just, I remember that I was sobbing, and I was repeating to him that it doesn't matter what I create, it doesn't matter what I write, it doesn't matter what I want to share with people. All that matters is that I have a pretty face and pictures on Instagram with me massaging other people, and somebody just stole this and they are using it for advertising erotic massages. And a disclaimer here, by the way, I have nothing against erotic massages if they are with consent and if they are legal, but just please don't use my fucking pictures for this, or anybody's pictures who doesn't consent to this. So that was something that broke me. I got a huge anxiety. I was not working for the whole July. So those of you who remember July last year, why I was not working? Because of that. Because I was literally unable to leave my home because I was so fucked. I was so depressed, and I was in such deep anxiety. So that was it. That was this moment when I was like, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be on social media if social media is this. I don't want this shit anymore. I felt tired. I felt betrayed. So if we compare social media to a relationship, that was the moment when I felt betrayed in my relationship. When I felt just completely disrespected, and I don't even have words for that. And I don't want to be a part of this. I think that's the summary. I don't know. I don't want to be a part of this. I know that there is a ton of great things happening on social media. I really do. All kinds of amazing fundraisers and people helping people connecting to people who need help. This is all great. I took part in this in so many times, in so many ways. I literally, miracles happening on social media when somebody was able to find somebody who was lost many years ago because somebody else posted something on Facebook. Miracles, absolute miracles. So I know that there is a lot of goodness. Just like there is a lot of goodness in people. Like social media is not something separated from people. It's created by people for people, and it's people who are there. So I know that there is a lot of goodness there. But I know that there is also a lot of shit, a lot of fake, a lot of things that are what's the word for it? Not illegal, but something that is unethical. That's what I mean. That there is a lot of things that are unethical. And just let's not forget that social media, like platforms like Facebook and Instagram, that they are businesses too, and they need to make money. So they make money on us. They make money on you. They literally sell your, it's a professional term. I googled it, I checked it when I was reading a lot about social media. It's called eye time. So how much time you spend looking at your screen. this is something that is being sold to people who want to sell their products on Instagram and Facebook, who want to have commercial. You are being sold. Your attention, your focus is being sold. And I was like more and more feeling that I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't know how to be there in a healthy way. It's destroying me. It's giving me anxiety. It gave me depression. And it gave me a lot of beautiful moments too. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, many beautiful conversations and clients and all this. But at some point, the balance started to be on minus. So I started to get more harmful effects from being on social media than I was getting the good parts, the good effects, the good elements. So hence my decision to quit, to just break up with social media, to end this relationship. And I'm in a process of it. So you most likely will still see me posting on Facebook and on Instagram. And please don't throw stones at me, because Magdalena, you said you don't want to be on social media, and now I see you are posting a post on Facebook. You are so full of shit, and you are so not in your integrity and whatnot. Please don't do this. I'm doing my best, as always, and I'm also doing my best to believe that everybody's always doing their best. So you will see me on social media still. You will see me on Facebook. You will see me on Instagram, but it's much less. And it's been a process that started in December. Now we have April 2022. It is a process, but I already feel the results of it, the effects of it, and the difficulty of this process. I feel it too. But like I said, I want to tell you more next time. This episode is already over 1 hour. And there is more. There is more that I want to share. There is much more. But today I just wanted to share this. I wanted to share my why I don't want to be on social media anymore, despite all the good things. And it's because of all the bad things. So if I had to summarize it in one sentence, literally one sentence, I would say that I don't want to be on social media because it's no longer supporting my values. That's it. And when I think about my values, it's authenticity, it's truthfulness, it's showing the life in my own way, doing things in my own way, not playing the game that I don't want to play. It's being truthful, and I call it walk your talk. When you say something, do it. Don't just say it, just do it, be it, live your life. Just don't just talk about it, live your life. And one of my values is this deep care for the body and for the spirit and for the emotions and for the mind. And one of my deep values is sharing my teachings. And I feel now that social media is no longer a platform where I want to share my teachings. I don't know how to reach people there. I prefer to record a podcast. I prefer to write a blog post. I prefer to invite you to a massage with me so we can really connect. I prefer to do a group workshop. I prefer to do a Lomi training or whatever, or even exchange voice messages with you. So I sometimes have clients, I still use Messenger. I use my private messenger as Magdalena. I use my fan page messenger, my business messenger, so Aloha Magdalena, and I use WhatsApp. And then I see that more and more I prefer to send voice messages to my clients. I prefer to connect to them that way. So yeah, to just cut the long story short, I mean, it's still gonna be a long story. I really see that it's over 1 hour, but I hope that it's been interesting and inspiring for you. But to summarize it, it's no longer who I am. It stopped supporting me and who I am. So I'm trying to live my life my way. And I will tell you more next time about how I do it, how I pull myself back from social media, how this breakup looks like. I don't know if it will be the next episode immediately after that. I mean, the next episode will be for sure a bonus episode, because that's what I do. I give you one normal and one bonus. But I don't know if the episode after that will be a continuation of the topic of social media, or if I will decide that I want to talk about something completely different for a change. But I will be back to you, I promise, with more of this, of how my life is changing, because it is changing beyond belief. Since I'm not that active on social media, wow, it's a change. And for now, wow, I on one hand, I feel that I could go on and on and on and on for next 10 hours just about this, more and more into why. On the other hand, I feel that I told you the most important parts, everything that I wanted to share. There were some moments that were not easy to share. And I would love to. I know that I say it every time. I know that I say it in every episode. But this time, I mean it more than ever. I would love to hear your story. Your story around social media. If anything that I said sparks something in you, please send me a message. You have my email in the description of this podcast. You can even send me a voice message. There is a link at the very, very bottom of the description of this episode where you can send me a voice message. Or just, you can send me a private message on social media or on WhatsApp if you have my number. Or just send me a good old email. One of the things since I started to quit, since I quit social media and I'm not there that so much, I just fell in love with writing letters again. Write me a letter. I would love to know your story. And if your story is different, if you have amazing and nothing but amazing experiences with social media, I would love to hear that too. And I'm so happy for you. And I hope that it will be like this for you, that you are in a healthy relationship with social media. And if you don't want to write me a message, then it's also fine. But I encourage you to think about it just for yourself, to think about what is my relationship with social media. Especially if you, just like me, are a producer of the content creator, but also if you are mostly consuming content, or if the only content that you create is just every now and then you post pictures from your holidays, then still check with yourself how much time you spend on social media and with your smartphone in general. Do you allow yourself to get bored, or do you immediately use your phone as a tool to just save you from yourself, so you don't need to be with yourself because you can always be on your phone with others? It's a huge topic. It's a complicated, not even complicated, it's a complex topic. It's multifaceted. It's fascinating to read about it, how the invention of smartphones, for example, is connected to the higher rates of suicides among teenagers. I mean, like, these things are connected. It's fascinating to read research about it. So I encourage you to do your own research if you want to know more. And again, I will post some of the links in the description of this podcast as well, of this episode. Whoa, I think I'm done. I feel I'm done. One more thing. If you liked this episode, if you like my podcast in general, please do whatever you can do with podcast. I think you can subscribe, but it doesn't matter that much. What matters to me that if you like this episode, please send it to somebody who think you might like it. Or just, fuck it, post it on social media if you want to. But please, if you like this episode, send it to people, copy the link and send it to your friend. Just let people know about the good stuff. That's how we learn about the good stuff, by sharing it. That's how I learned about, so much good stuff, because somebody sent it to me like, hey, I think you should read this. I think you should listen to this. I think you would like this. So please share this podcast with people who might be interested in it. And for now, I think I'm good. I think I'm done. I really love this moment at the end of the recording of the episode when I feel like this is done. I had so much to deliver. I had so many words in me, so many words that wanted to be birthed and delivered to the world. And now it's done. And now I feel good and empty. And I'm going to listen to everything that I said, trying to edit it as little as possible because I hate it. And I will deliver this to you. Thank you for you. Thank you for hanging out with me. It really means the world. I'm not saying this just to be nice. It really means a lot that you hang out with me in this way. Lots of love. I love you dearly. I wish you a beautiful time. And you will hear from me in another episode of Touchful podcast. Aloha. Bye bye.